Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Fake Pisser, who says, my mum, female 48, is trying to force me, male 17, to fly to another state and take a pre-job drug test for my brother, 22. To be honest, I have done this in the past. I've taken pre-hire drug tests for him. I hated doing it, but I did it. We look enough alike that on his driving license we pull it off, and people at those clinics are more busy making sure you don't sneak something in your pants than with ID pics. My brother asked me first because he knew he was going to apply a couple of months ago. I said no and told him to get clean, and he got pissed at me. Then got my mum to take his side, and here we are. I hate doing this because I hate that I'm doing something illegal, and I hate that my brother won't stop smoking weed long enough to get a good job. I have nothing against weed, I just don't smoke, and I hate how lazy and irresponsible he is. I would have to fly out and miss some school, but my mum is threatening to revoke my work permit. I work at a burger place part-time. I love my job, but I can only keep it if my GPA stays high, and my mum and my guidance counselor sign a permission slip. Don't want to do anything illegal anymore. Don't want to keep bailing out my brother. I hate doing this, period. My mum also threatened to kick me out of the house, but I think that one is a bluff. I would have to fly out Sunday and have a big chemistry test on Monday. I feel like I have no way out. This sucks. Let me know if any good ideas come to mind to help me do the best thing. Mr. Jules suggested to OP, just tell them you smoked weed. OP says, didn't think of this. My mum would probably drug test me to check because we've been fighting over this. I should have thought of this sooner. Damn. Thanks, this would have been genius. Another commenter says, this looks like the best option, since she doesn't seem to give a shit if the other brother does it. OP says, nah, she never cared he did anything. But if I get a B instead of an A, all hell breaks loose. I get grounded, lose my laptop, and no TV and no friends. Doesn't seem balanced. OP on how he's faked tests for his brother in the past. OP says they never let me go alone. He always walks in with me to make sure I don't chicken out. Then when they call his name, he puts a magazine over his face or just bends down and looks at his phone. Great idea though, so thank you. OP also says, but I can't go to jail or suffer some legal consequences if I get caught trying. I don't want to lose my scholarships or even my acceptance to my future college. OP on how his mum can revoke his work permit. They said, the high school I attended has to give you a work permit in order to get a part-time job, or nobody will hire you without it. But the rules are that you have to maintain a high GPA, and your parents have to sign a consent form. Once you have all that, your guidance counselor will give final approval. Those are the rules, so my mum can go to the counselor at any time and say she's no longer content to me working. She can say anything from behavior problems at home to I need more time for homework and family. Anything. That would be it. They revoke my work permit and I get fired. I always find situations like this absolutely heartbreaking because I think, that's a very small part of OP's life that we've seen. What else is not in the background? I mean, mum is pressuring OP to do this drug test, which could be considered fraud in some places. Maybe all places, I don't know. I just done a quick Google and, I briefly saw that there is possible legal consequences of this. And mum is pressuring their child to do that. But someone else says to OP, tell her if she revokes your permit, you will tell your school counselor why she is. Then she will really be in trouble. She will get super pissed, but there is nothing she can really do. She also cannot legally kick you out of the house until you're 18. Stay strong, kid. If you get caught doing this, your whole future is ruined. And I don't want that to happen. It sounds like you have a good head on your shoulders. You're right, your brother could easily clean up his act if for no other reason than to just pass the test. It's not that hard to stop smoking weed for a few months. I do not smoke, but I have a few friends that do, and they have all quit before for job drug screenings. It's a slight inconvenience and saves them money. FKA says, wow, your mum should enter the enabling Olympics. She's contended for the gold medal even on a sub-rampant with descriptions of enabling parents and SOs. Tell her fuck that, and if she threatens to withhold permission for you to continue to work, tell her you'll tell school counselor why. "Oh, Mr. and Mrs. School Counselor, the mum won't let me keep my job because I wouldn't fly out to fraudulently take a pre-employment drug test for my brother." So it was about 6 weeks after that post that OP came in again and said, "It didn't go too well for me. My mum dropped me at the airport. I didn't get on the plane. I just sat there and they called for my plane to board. The airline lady asked me if I wanted to board because she saw I was the only one left in the waiting area. I felt scared, I'm not gonna lie. That was the hardest moment of my life by far. The shit hit the fan when my brother found out I wasn't getting off the plane that night when he went to pick me up from the airport. My mum called and called until finally she just texted me not to come home. I spent the night at the airport and I took the bus to school on that Monday. I took my chemistry test and totally bombed it. I got a C. I wish I had a do-over on that because I know all that stuff. I don't know what happened there. I got fired from my job because my mum revoked my permission slip to work. I spoke to my boss, but there was nothing he could do to keep me working for him. He said he respects me and that he would hire me when I'm 18, but nothing he can do now. I don't live at home anymore. I got kicked out. That whole thing was bad. My self-esteem is in the dumps because I don't like staying at my friend's house where I stay now. Sometimes I think that all I had to do was take the stupid drug test and everything would be fine now. Thanksgiving is coming and it's weird not having a place or a family to have that holiday with. I thought it would all blow over by now, but it hasn't. My mom is more angry about this than I thought. She moved and rented another house, so my old house is done. To me, it makes a difference. Honestly, I would love to say, hey, I did the right thing and it's all good, but it's not that easy. I'm lost for now at least. I don't know how to move on without a home to go home to. I have to confess that I wish my mum would call me and tell me I was right. It's just not that easy to leave your family behind. So anyway, I don't know what else to say. I have my clothes and my books and my school stuff. I'll finish off the year. I'm wishing time will fly by and I can start college and just try to move on. Sometimes I feel like I made a mountain out of a molehill. I fucked up everything. But I can't wait to have kids so I can help them do the right things without punishing them. That's the one thing I can know I will for sure do when I have kids. For now, things suck and they're hard. Being kind of homeless sucks. Staying at somebody else's house is not the same as having your own bed. The top commenter on this one said, OP, you're going to look back on this event in a few years and be so fucking proud of yourself for not having gone through with this illegal as fuck request from your mum and brother. Not only that, it is a blessing in a way that, because you know how little these people care about you. I literally couldn't give two fucking shits about you, and you don't need to feel bad or give a shit either. You say that you wish time flew by so you could go to college. I'm assuming that you are admitted somewhere and will be going. This will be a tough year for you, but I'm hoping college will be a helpful experience and that you can find support and good friends there. I promise it will all get better. Opie says I've been admitted to the school I want to go to, so the sooner that day comes the better for me and the easier things will be. Dinosaur Train says to OP, I've also been on my own since I was a teenager. Oh, things suck ass, I promise you are so much better off finding out the truth about your family now. It doesn't seem like it while you're a minor and vulnerable, but trust me, it is true. This temporary hardship is miles better than years of bullshit your mum would have hung around your neck. In the meantime, perhaps you could see an attorney and find out what your rights are about suing for child support for yourself and being illegally evicted, if that's the case. Opie says, I don't know. I can't afford an attorney, and I don't think I want one either. As messed up as my mum is, I have no desire to make things worse for her in the long run, or handle whatever comes to me. I don't think she can handle what comes to her if I make legal trouble. That mum and that brother are absolute scumbags. Imagine kicking out your teen child because they refuse to commit fraud for their brother. And it just brings me back to what I said in the first part of it. I wonder how much care and love there was in the first place to turn around and do something like that. It just, it's just fucking heartbreaking, honestly. I hope OP did reach out to any resources that they have around them, the school counselor or any displaced teens resources. It also shows how, normalization of mum's kind of behaviors, because OP's still trying to defend her in some ways towards the end there. He doesn't want to go for any kind of child support or things like that. I'm not sure of the possibilities of it, but still the mindset is that he wants to protect her in some kind of way because she's already going through enough. Yet despite her kicking him out, despite her pressuring him to do something illegal. But I hope OP did look back on this and think and know that they did the right thing. They made the right choice. And I really, really, really do hope that they're out there somewhere absolutely thriving, away from their mum, away from that brother who's willing to put them in harm's way. Absolutely heartbreaking. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, before we do get into this next story, I want to give you a couple of trigger warnings of mental health struggles and eating disorders as well. So if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. This one's from Crazy Girl Issues, who says 30 male with 29 female for 2 years. Am I crazy for thinking her reaction to me being late with the pizza is massively out of proportion? So this feels crazy to me even asking this, but I just need some kind of confirmation or perspective I'm not seeing. I live with my girlfriend. Every Friday is pizza night. We either order some Domino's or I pick up Papa Murphy's. She loves pizza night because during the week we are pretty strict with our diet and exercise. So Friday nights are pop, pizza, movie, and it's a treat. I get off of work at 5. She gets off at 6, so if I'm picking up the pizza, then I get it on the way home. Yesterday it was my duty to pick up the pizza. I stayed after work for another 40 minutes talking to my brother about business ideas because we own our business, and it's really helpful to brainstorm after we close. I work 25 minutes from the house. She works 20 minutes from the house. I ordered the pizza from Papa Murphy's. You have to bake it yourself at home for 15 minutes at 5 and plan to leave work at 5:40 with the intent on getting the pizza and being home in time to throw it in the oven and have it done within 5 to 10 minutes after she walked in the door. Well, I get the pizza and there is a traffic accident on the freeway. It delays me 15 minutes. When I get home, which is about 2 minutes after she did, she is all, "I'm really disappointed that you didn't get the pizza here faster. You know how important it is, etc." I explained to her that there was a traffic accident and that I had planned to be here in time to have it done. She then goes on a rant saying that I should have left right at 5 so I would have for sure get the pizza here in time and have it ready for her when she got home. Keep in mind, I brought this pizza back basically every week for the past month, and I either have it totally ready or at least in the oven by the time she gets home. Somehow though, the times when it was just in the oven were me being late then too, and she brought that up as more evidence that I'm terrible. Anyway, I go into the bedroom to be alone so that I don't have to hear her ranting. She won't drop it though, and comes in there after 5 minutes to continue bitching about her pizza and how I shouldn't be upset because she's the one that was disappointed. I tell her fine, I'm leaving for a while because I don't want to sit here and hear this after I just sat in traffic for 40 minutes getting this thing for her. She then flips out and tells me I shouldn't come back if I'm leaving, chases me out the door and screams for me to pack my things and take them with me before I go, etc. I ignore this and tell her she's acting like a child and that it's like watching a 2-year-old have a tantrum. I come back 3 hours later and she has a suitcase and a bag of clothes thrown out in the driveway. No texts or calls, just that. I slept at my office and now I'm not really sure what to do here. Am I missing something here where I wasn't being sensitive? Do I just wait for an apology and then if it isn't forthcoming, I should walk? It seems like insanity to me. But maybe I am missing something. Edit. So I finally texted her this afternoon, and she said she was pissed because I ignored her / was acting cold after she bitched at me when I went into the bedroom to defuse the situation. I was there for under 5 minutes before she came in to continue fighting about it. When I left, she says, "I told you that if you ever left, you could never come back. You left." Now she says it's up to me if I still want to be together. I told her that me being required to be in her presence while she rants at me is abuse. I can leave if I want to. In fact, the week prior, she specifically told me I should leave for a little while when she starts acting crazy because she ends up saying things she doesn't mean. So I literally followed her advice this time. Now she says I'm basically required to stay at her side while she rages at me. Ugh. I feel like it's time to move on because I know she won't get help for this, and I know it's just going to keep happening. It's just so hard because I do still love her, and if she would just be willing to get help, I would have hope. So someone asked OP if this is the girlfriend's typical reaction if things don't go the way she wanted. OP says this is literally the entire story. Sometimes it's like talking to a different person. One person is kind and loving, but then she can flip this switch where she is unable to be reasoned with and goes absolutely batshit crazy. It happens when she's frustrated too. An example, also with pizza. A few months ago I was dropping my car off to get a stereo installed. I needed her to pick me up thereafter she was done with work on Friday because I had to leave it there for a few hours. Well, she couldn't find the place and got a little lost, so she called me. She couldn't use her GPS because she used up all her data on a prepaid plan. I tried to help her with my Google Maps and figured out where she was really quickly, like 2 minutes from the place. I told her to go north and take the first right she could. Well, she doesn't know compass directions where she was, so this frustrated her and she started screaming into the phone how this was pizza night and how maybe I could just call her once the car was ready and she'd pick me up then. I told her that would be several hours and that it didn't make any sense. I needed food, etc. So she says, fine, I'll try to find you. 30 seconds later, she finds me. She later apologized about her behavior, but it was still shocking at the time. Now I guess I'm starting to realize this is normal for her whenever she is at all stressed. OP responded to a comment regarding the girlfriend's background, and OP says, "You are pretty insightful. She has abandonment issues because her dad left, and her mum was legitimately insane. Regularly beat her, addicted to drugs, went to prison for a few years, and had to be raised by grandma, and she ended up emancipating herself at 16. Yes, minor changes in routine very much upset her. No reason to distrust me. I've never cheated. She has." Someone asked OP if they informed his girlfriend that they would be staying late at work. OP says no, because I regularly stay late at work, but I always get home before her, so it usually doesn't matter. Same thing here. I was on time until I hit the traffic jam. I tried to get around it, but it didn't help. I thought I would get home right around the same time as her and that it wouldn't be a big deal for her to wait 15 minutes, but apparently it was. And another commenter says BPD is not very resistant to treatment. DBT works wonders. Once a patient can recognize their own emotions, they can learn to cope with them properly. The disorder becomes manageable from there. The patient is going to have to be in a place where they're ready to get help and challenge their own beliefs, but that's the same of any mental illness ever. OP's girlfriend doesn't sound like she's there, but that doesn't mean she'll never be there, nor should she be told she never will be. You seem to understand the disorder. You understand why telling someone with BPD that they're untreatable is detrimental, right? We should be telling them that they aren't broken and hopeless. That said, OP, her childhood plus what you wrote in the comments also struck me as borderline. She believes she is horrible, that she doesn't deserve love, that everyone abandons her. She doesn't know how to feel good about herself because she was never taught how. It's absolutely not your responsibility to teach her that, or even to help her through any of this. You are not married. It's only been 2 years. She will need to learn one way or another that she is hurting herself and everyone around her with her behavior. She will need to decide she needs help. Just try to keep in mind that she's suffering too. If/when you leave her, don't be too cruel. OP quotes the part that says she believes she is horrible, that she doesn't deserve love, that everyone abandons her. And OP says she has used exactly those words to describe how she feels about herself. She feels an emptiness inside that she thought was because of our relationship and me not making her feel loved enough. So she cheated. But it didn't help her. After the cheating, I tried to get her to see a counselor, but she refused in a passive/aggressive way of promising to go, but never making the appointment and becoming angry when I pressed her on it after a month of nothing. I guess I just needed her to let go and hope that she gets treatment for herself at some point. Her opinion of counselors is that they are useless and never help. So OP came in with her first update and said after some more texting, she admitted that she owed me an apology and asked me to come back and talk. As soon as I walked in, she had a sheepish look and apologized and said she knows something is wrong with her, but she isn't sure what it is and really doesn't want to have to take medication. That's when I brought up the fact that we both already know that her sister has a very severe case of borderline personality disorder. Her sister is very intelligent, yet often homeless, has been married 5+ times at 35 years old, thinks no one loves her and everyone persecutes her for her political views, etc. I never thought my girlfriend had this disorder though, because her sister was so severe in comparison that I never really stopped and paid attention to a lot of the things that she does do. I still hit a lot of the major criteria. Major fears of abandonment from childhood, stormy relationships with men, few friends, viewing me as perfect when she's happy and terrible when she's upset, extreme sensitivity to criticism, past issues with bulimia, crazy/paranoid, i.e. unfounded no evidence, thoughts of what I think of her when she is upset, and a cycle of shame and guilt about the things she does to avoid emotional pain and dealing with the consequences of her actions. Anyway, she was curious enough about it to go and look this up on the computer, take a basic psych test to see if it's possible. She scored in the likely score range, even with some answers that I thought were denying reality. I kept quiet while she took it though. That would have scored her higher. After that, she looked into what treatment was available. I know she absolutely does not like the idea of counseling, so I suggested books, and she agreed to at least start with that. So I feel like this is a positive step forward. Where I was feeling hopeless before, she realizes she has a problem, and now I'm just anxious about whether she will take the book seriously and really work on understanding why she acts this way sometimes. 95% of the time I'm with her is wonderful and she is amazing. But this 5% of when she cannot handle stress or minor issues, they turn into huge blow-ups is very difficult. One of her suggestions on what would make her feel better when she does this is if I pretended to be concerned, even if it's a trivial issue. She says it doesn't even matter if I have to grit my teeth and lie to her. It'll make her feel better than when I walk away. I don't think she realized it when she said it, but we do the same thing to her sister when her sister is saying crazy stuff too. Overall, I'm much more hopeful now, but at the same time realistic that she has thus far not really done anything to help herself. And reading books could help, but not in the same way a counselor could, I think. I'm hoping that if she reads these books and realizes a lot of things ring true with her, maybe she'll be more open to counseling. Quick edit, I know a lot of you said it wasn't about the pizza. In a way you're right, in a way not. She was much more upset by the fact that I wanted to go into my room rather than stay and listen to her ranting about that. Someone with BPD is apparently much more short-fused when you're not giving them attention when they need it. So a minor issue about pizza turns into crazed, you don't love me, you don't care about me ramblings. It really was as simple as the pizza being late, and my avoidance reaction set off her insanity. The top commenter said to OP, you two shouldn't pursue treatment from books based on a personality disorder that you've armchair diagnosed. This book path won't actually help. She needs to work with a pro, and you need to make it an ultimatum. You can't stay with her as is untreated. If you do, expect more of the same, and remember, if you do care about her happiness, you must know that the book path won't get her there. She needs the help of professionals, and you'd be wrong to accept anything less. Another commenter says she needs therapy, a constant, judgment-free relationship with the same therapist serving as a safe zone, where she won't be abandoned no matter what. You can't be that safe zone. And the last commenter on that update says, borderline partners are very hard to handle. If she can recognize and actually help herself, you can be okay. Please be firm with her. Make sure you establish your own boundaries. Don't let her walk all over you and abuse you. Be healthy. So 1.5 months later, Opie comes in with what is titled their final update and says, well, I just couldn't make it work with her anymore. I didn't want to talk about it in the original post, but she had cheated on me multiple times already, and I caught her doing more stuff. She told me she was just seeing her ex once in a while as a friend, but I caught texts she had sent him, where he was mad that she wasn't getting sexual with him enough, and that she only saw him once every couple of weeks, so she must be seeing another guy, and accusing her of lying about whether she is single or not. She replied to him saying she is single and wasn't looking for other guys, etc., but that she found out he was on a dating site looking for other girls, so she was mad about that. That combined with other things that have just always been problems has led me to the realization that I will never be able to do enough for her to be happy, that there is no version of reality where I can trust her enough to get married and have kids, or where I can go on a weekend trip and not worry that she's out with another guy while I'm gone. I told her last night that we needed some time apart, and she predictably flew into a rage and told me to get the fuck out, and said if I didn't take all my stuff, she would throw it away. I told her if she wanted to be a baby about it, do that. She could, but I wasn't going to pack up the entire house full of my stuff while she's raging at me. So I took my necessities and left. She apologized today and said she wouldn't throw out my stuff, but I'm currently in a motel and looking for an apartment tomorrow. I think my mental state has been warped pretty badly by this relationship, and I'm looking forward to resetting. I haven't pursued my hobbies or tried to make friends in a long time because every spare moment was spent with her and trying to make sure she didn't feel like I was giving her enough attention. I would get anxious if I was running late coming home from work because I was worried she would be really upset. Most of all, I just felt like I was dealing with someone that doesn't think about things like I do and doesn't have the sense of morality that I do. I never really know if it was BPD because she refused to go to counseling and nothing I could do or say would make her go. I hope someday she is happy, but I fear she is in for a lot of short-term relationships where guys are initially thrilled to be with her, but then they aren't perfect in some way. That's when the ship will hit the rocks again. And there's no recovery from it because she takes no responsibility for repairing the damage she causes and only builds up resentment that she isn't treated like a princess regardless of how she treats you. Edit. I'm reading all of your replies, so even if I don't respond, I really do appreciate the kind words and constructive opinions. I'm actually having a bit of a laugh right now because the more I read and write about the crap that went on, I realize what a huge drain on my mental energy this has been. I own a business, and part of what makes or breaks an entrepreneur is coming up with good ideas that help the business grow. My mind has been in a fog for so long that I haven't put as much energy into that as I should have been. But luckily for me, and maybe this is a sign if there is a higher power, my salary basically went from 50k to 250k in the past couple of weeks because of a good idea that worked well. So I've got that to help cheer me up. And the top comment on that final update said, "I'm sad you put up with her abuse for so long. In the end, it doesn't matter if she has BPD. She treats you horribly and is intolerable. She won't try to fix it. If I were you, I'd sneak your things out and leave her without fully informing her up front because she'll probably destroy your property. She's out of control. Good luck in the future, and I'm glad you escaped her." Opie says, "It sounds worse than it is when I only talk about the bad. She was very loving and kind 95% of the time, but the 5% was pretty bad. And the things she did behind my back makes me question what percentage of the time she was faking it. Some of the affection had to be faked, or else there is a disconnect in her mind between her time with me and her time alone and/or with other guys." Commenter says, "Mental illness. It's been emotionally abusive, and you have freedom and happiness before you. Good luck." Commenter replies to that saying, "I was a social worker, and I could think of a few disorders that might fit. She's best off getting an evaluation by a professional, but OP, it is so important that you remember that fixing her is not your job. I frequently see people who feel guilty about leaving a partner who clearly has issues, so they try to get them help. But in addition to the fact that this doesn't often work, it's bad for the stable partner, and the stable partner does not actually owe it to the ill partner to help them. When you break up, you are your only priority. Period." Opie says, "There was definitely a strong factor of wanting to help her. When I first met her, I considered myself extremely mentally strong and stable. And when she seemed like such a great person with just a few things that needing fixing, I thought my personality and way of dealing things would rub off on her, and she would see how much better life is when you don't flip out, lie/sneak, etc. But I've learned now that 30 years old are not children, and if they haven't learned right or wrong by this age, they aren't going to change. She often told me she wouldn't want to continue living if I died, and subtly implied that she would kill herself, etc. But I don't really believe it anymore because she has plenty of other guys waiting to throw themselves at her if she wants that. So I think she'll be just fine, or at least as fine as she can be." And the last commenter says, "Have a pizza to celebrate." Opie says, "Lol. I wonder how long it'll be before I can stop associating a pizza on Friday as something I better get right or my ass is hitting the curb." And absolutely, OP made the right decision to leave in the end. When OP was talking about 95% good and 5% bad dynamic, we've seen that time and time again, maybe described in different ways, but it seems quite common in emotionally abusive relationships that good times that you're enjoying and, everything's happy and you're showing love towards one another, keep you hanging on, while the bad times slowly just deteriorate your own mental health, which was clearly happening to OP in this situation. They was worried about bringing a pizza home from work because if they're late, they're going to get in trouble about it. And it was clear in the end by how OP was feeling that toxic relationships like this can drain your energy, and you don't realize it when you're out. I often call it like the fog that sort of lifts, and then you can see everything around you again. And you can't be responsible for her mental health, especially when she's not willing to work on it herself. And that's without going into all the cheating stuff as well. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.